Welcome. Today's date is September 2nd in the year 2024. Feel free to have a seat in the lotus position and understand that the meditations I teach range from being able to drop down into the lotus position and into a basic vipassana state of consciousness, but also directing you to breathe deeply, but to also ground and engage in other meditations that are healthy for you and your mind, body, and spirit. So sitting in a chair with the feet flat on the ground, this is also important for you to do also. But for right now, we sit in the lotus position. You are being instructed now. I am your teacher. And we will take in a deep breath. And then we will release. This is going to be a quick video performed in a room where women come all the time to do yoga. And despite the fact that my ancestors created yoga, and I have ancestors from other places as well, despite that, in this world of physicality, being a short brown male, being a short brown man who is spiritual, who speaks of godly things, these are things that can mark you by the evil one and can result in you being considered, like an Indian caste system level, untouchable. And for those that don't know, my actual given birth name is one of the lowest castes in India. All right? For those of you that are a little slow and ethnocentric. In other words, you only know things of the culture, and you know very little about things beyond this barbaric society. Make sense? Good. Okay. So you need to be illuminated with the truth that I have been suppressed by your people and murdered by the millions by your people. And I think I'm doing pretty well by the fact that I can talk right now and do a smile. But what's not doing very well are the people in this world that never gave me a chance. And so this meditation is about releasing the desire to save the world and to rescue evil women in particular. To rescue evil women, to step away from the desire to rescue evil women, to pray for God's discernment, to realize that we are looking at highly scrumptious, highly desirable, highly sexy forms of life, but at a spirit level where you feel it in your heart, not your balls, your testes, or your penis, or your head, but your heart. The heart knows. And the throat chakra communicates truth. Thus, this is yoga, to speak truth and to see reality as it is. It is not yoga, right, to market the flesh and certain heritages as more important than the rest, nor is it yoga to send somebody using their free speech threatening emails, threatening to destroy someone's life for expressing an opinion about sexuality being sold. This is not godly at all. And so we need to get into a vipassana state of consciousness to where we can breathe in and breathe out, and come to a level of acceptance of the higher forces of nature. While we understand that the forces of nature are in play, we do not want the dark forces of nature, of rape, of sexual assault, which exists in nature, which nature is all about, to influence us. So we don't want to necessarily be in a state of consciousness of saving the whole world and stopping God's wrath or any of that, okay? But we also don't want to be in a state of consciousness of wishing harm and desiring to see harm to people or women. But we need to be in a neutral state of consciousness and come to a Zen mode and do a real honest evaluation. So here's a question for you men out there that are lusting on a woman. But, I have to assume that you're somewhat like me in order to communicate with you. If you're not like me, there's no point in you watching this channel other than entertainment purposes. If I'm going to choose to engage with you telepathically, then I'm going to assume that you may be somewhat like me. So let's assume that you're a public speaker, or that you're online being public about things in more than just a Facebook thing, And let's say that you're against human trafficking and that you're seeking women that also are against human trafficking, that like men that are against human trafficking, and you're not finding success. Now, start a journal and start asking yourself some questions. Do you have any evidence to suggest whatsoever that she believes, assuming that you're a different heritage than her and that you're mixed race like me, of a kind of human that typically doesn't come together? And ask yourself, is there any evidence that you or I have that would suggest that these females that we are lusting after or desiring to procreate children with or protect from human traffickers, is there any evidence to suggest that they believe that our life matters? Is there any evidence to suggest that they like us? Is there any evidence to suggest that they are against the trafficking of women? Is there any evidence to suggest that the reality of white supremacy, rape, and murder of the third world makes their stomach turn? Is there any evidence to suggest that they are opposed to Satan? Is there any evidence to suggest that despite their really good-looking ass, that they want a positive penis inside their body that will activate their chakras to the next level of the human evolution? Is there any evidence to suggest that they're listening to us when we warn about the poison water? Is there any evidence to suggest that they're listening to us when we warn about human trafficking? Is there any evidence to suggest that when we tell them that we're more valuable than Trump and Biden, that they're giving us time and attention and votes and helping us with their videos, as opposed to just voting for Trump and Biden? Is there any evidence to suggest that women, by and large, that are on the left, that are opposed to what they say is white supremacy on their right, is there any evidence to suggest they believe that Afghan lives matter or that too many people have been killed for Israel in Gaza? Is there any evidence to suggest that we are not in hell? Take a deep breath and observe. Be in the middle. Don't be in, we're going to save the world and stop God's wrath from punishing the demon scum, and then let's stay out of, beat her, punish her, kill those cities. We want to stay out of that. We want to be in this neutral state of consciousness to where we know that God is in control, even if we don't really know how God is in control. But I'm telling you, on a physical level, Satan's in control of how things operate on a certain level. But on a grand, cosmic, universal level, above this hellhole planet and beyond, there is God. And so understand that God's wrath is real, God's law is real, and many, if not most, not all, but nearly all of the humans are not following God's law and don't believe Afghan lives matter. And so the whole creation, in my cosmology understanding book, you were tested by God in and around September 11th, 2001, and you had a choice to make. And many humans, signed their name on the dotted line with Satan. After receiving the revelations that 9/11 was an inside job, many signed their name on the dotted line with Satan. Having already received the revelations that 9/11 was an inside job, many signed a contract with Satan to turn their back on the Afghan people, to turn their back on the fucking truth, to go fucking batshit crazy over weaponized migration when you know damn well my life fucking matters. I am deserving of community and should not be banished to one of America's most violent cities. This absolutely, America, reflects on you, the viewership collectively, for even allowing me to end up in this shithole. This shithole is turning people into evil Satanists that I'm speaking to you in right now. And sometimes I wonder if it's going to take me, but I don't want it to take me, so this video is coming about. How do we avert suicide, drug addiction, and violence in a world that is breaking our hearts? How can men that previously were spiritual, not talking about myself, but others, become murderers? Okay. The evil of this world that they are criticizing absorbs them when they look at it too long. And this is why I caution you from watching these Netflix and Tubi videos and documentaries about aliens and greys and reptoids. And notice they don't call them Archons. Notice how Cameron Day said never call them Archons. He stopped exposing the Archons, and then he joined the Archon game of trying to make money via information about the sun, without even actually talking about the real science of the sun. Just boost your testosterone, boost your testes, have great sex now. Oh, that's so anti-Archon, Cameron Day. So anti-Archon. So anti-Archon. See, that's an example of how Cameron Day, when he spoke about the archons in the past, he was somewhat of a very, very unattractive male, which is why he never showed himself on video, because he knew that women would judge him. Then he changed his appearance, became completely different, stopped talking about the archons, and then ended up living in Hawaii. We have to assume that he's making money. And any attempt from me to him to talk to him about the evil of this world is met with silence. And why do you think that is? Because in order for him to have a woman, in order for him to have money, in order for him to make it to Hawaii, he had to make peace with the archons and stop exposing them. You have to, and I'm not telling you to, I'm telling you hypothetically, if you want to be an average man, make money, get pussy, live in Hawaii, you have to stop exposing evil, and you have to allow a little bit of that evil to coexist with you. You got to be willing to work with the energies. So they say. So they say. So they say. Now, in this room that I'm in, we're dealing with a lot of cell phone obsession when people should be focused on their spirituality. So I'll bring in the screen obsession, but we're going to speak truth in this room. And the truth that I speak in this room will exist in this room after I am gone. The air that I breathe in this room will wake up the older white women that do yoga in this room, so that they will feel heartfelt compassion for one that descended from one that created this practice. And so I know that by being in this flesh world of judgment, short, brown male, and the women won't admit verbally that are in the audience that that's the real reason they're not attracted to me, that's the real reason they don't donate to me, that's the real reason that they don't like me, that's the real reason that they don't talk to me. And if someone does, it's rare, it's random, and they will be demanding that I talk to them instead of understand that I am trying to get certain people to talk to me, okay, that are at a certain level of energy and consciousness that I am also attracted to. It can't be a one-way street of only unstable people that send unstable emails connecting with me and berating me later. That is a very, very dangerous situation. One person almost seemed offended that I didn't want to be with older women without even realizing that that's all I've ever been with is older women. Older white women. That's all I've ever tasted. That's all I've ever had. And in fact, in the end, I'm left with a very sick, troubled feeling in my stomach. I mean, all they have to do is be vocal in their messages to me about being totally appalled by human trafficking and really appreciating me saying the things that need to be said. That's how you get my attention. You were just given the codes of the Matrix to get my attention. And the codes of the Matrix to turn me off and upset me is not caring about those things, not caring about 9/11 being an inside job, not caring about millions of Iraqis and Afghans getting killed, not taking it seriously when I talk about the worship of the little girl and the worship of the giant being some sort of alien yin-yang program that they have seared into your DNA to continue to procreate humans that don't have normal, rational human feelings of empathy for other men and women. And that's what's happening here with sex, with fucking, with coming, with sperm shooting out of the penis into the vagina, and the vagina is willing to have sex with certain types of penises and never with other types of penises. It is all about this Anunnaki war program and the complete extermination of the human species. That's why you can have women alive today totally okay with rape porn, totally okay with human trafficking, because the DNA codex helix doesn't have the necessary software programs to understand the things that I'm saying or to have empathy for me as a soul. This is a hell realm. But just because we're living in a world where there's air conditioning and not everything is burning 24/7, that can actually put us into a mind control trance. Because there's sunlight and there's water and there's food, people can become convinced that this is paradise. And then because people are carnal and they see women fucking a lot of guys and going with whatever cravings they have, anal, oral, and they think that's freedom, they actually open up the door to complete demonic infestation. It's not sex that's bad, it's the constant sex with the Anunnaki seed humans, which is the issue. The giant program. And this giant program is not limited to white supremacy. It exists in Arabia, it exists in Africa. Oh yeah, it exists with the Africans. The worship of the giant male with the big dick, right, who can kill lots of people and destroy lots of things. Like, it is all over the society, and that is the biggest illusion that a godly man can live in, is to look at these beautiful women with beautiful breasts, with beautiful bodies, and to think that they want us to protect them from harm. There is unfortunately this very erotic implant that has been put into us as human beings that enjoys seeing sexual torture or experiencing it. And there is nothing normal about that. That is not a normal human evolutionary thing that people are being misled into. Oh no, we're just into the giant thing because the history of the caves. You need to be with a strong man to fight off the... No, that's old world behavior. You actually need to be intelligent for a high-tech world of robots and AIs. The robot's going to just smash your giant man. What are you, a fucking retard woman? You're a retard woman. You're a retard woman then. They're not upgrading their DNA. That old program of the caveman and the big man, that's an old program that's obsolete. You need smart men now. You need evolved men now. This whole thing of just worship the brute has nothing to do with evolution, and keeps these women in a reincarnation, fornication, time loop of slavery in hell. Okay? And so women and men equally have a job to do to raise the vibration of their heart so great that it burns the shaitan within them, that keeps them in the mind-slave dichotomy. Okay? This concludes today's rant from the yoga studio. At this point, I'll probably go and do some deadlifts.